Hello, and welcome back to another episode of 10 Things I Hate About Your Writing. Even though I've never read it, I've never met you, and hell, I may never read your writing. I am your host, John Hartness. I'm a fantasy author, editor, publisher, podcast, and I'm also the founder of Falstaff Books, a small press based in Charlotte, North Carolina, and you can find me at many conventions all around the Southeast every year. All the time. Find me. Buy stuff. It's great. You'll love it. So I'm a little sleepy because I did a library event earlier this evening, and my host at the library took me out to this giant meat and three meal afterwards, and I stuffed myself with fried perch and fried squash and fried banana pudding. Not really. The banana pudding wasn't fried, but it felt like everything should just be fried. Everything was kind of monochromatic, though. That was nice. There might be some food coma. So if I doze off in the middle, just scroll forward. There's a bar. It'll be fine. We're gonna talk tonight. We're gonna What are we gonna talk about? Shit. Hang on. I gotta find my notes. Oh yeah. We're going to talk about my favorite thing. My favorite thing ever that I'm not at all tired of saying. My favorite thing that I've never sat in front of a panel at a convention and said these very words time and time again. We're going to talk about submission guidelines. I know. I'm as tired of talking about submission guidelines as some of you are about hearing about the importance of submission guidelines. And you know what? I'm going to talk about it some more because it's still the biggest, number one thing that people fuck up that shit cans your entire submission. The whole thing. Gone. See ya. Bye. Done. Round file. Auto delete. Do not read. If you cannot follow the submission guidelines, many of us will not even give you the time of day. You will not even get read by the first round slush reader or the first round slush reader's intern or the first round slush reader's intern's cat. Why is this? Is this because all people in publishing are flaming assholes and all they want to do is reject you and shit on your dreams and wipe their ass with your hard-fought manuscript that you have sweated blood over for years and years, and you've poured your entire soul out onto these pages, and now because it's not perfectly formatted, they're just not even going to look at you and they'll never understand your brilliance. Oh, fuck you. Fuck you and your self-righteous, self-important bullshit. You think your fucking manuscript is more important than my time? Than my editor's time? Than my slush reader's time? Fuck you. That's why we're not going to read it. Because ignoring the submission guidelines is disrespectful to everyone involved in the process. When we're looking at a manuscript, we're not looking at a manuscript to reject it. Nobody in publishing wants to say no to you. There is not a soul working in the fucking business that wants to reject your manuscript. Why don't we want to reject your manuscript? Because we want it to be amazing. We want your book to be the best goddamn thing we've read in years. We want to get excited about it. We want to do fucking cartwheels down the hall. I don't really have a hall. It's a split level. It's kind of compact. There's one, I can't do a cartwheel because I'm fat and clumsy, and two, there's not enough space out there, even if I did cartwheel. Anyway, we don't want to reject your stuff. We really don't. We want it to be amazing. We want everything that comes across our desk to be fucking spectacular. I want it to be Sarah Gailey's Magic for Liars. I want it to be Theodore Goss's Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter. I want it to be Mary Robinette Kowal's Calculating Stars. I want it to be John Scalzi's Old Man's War and Name of the Wind by Pat Rothfuss, all rolled into one great big goddamn burrito of fantastic. But it's not. It's not. It's not because you're not John Scalzi, Pat Rothfuss, Mary Robinette Kowal, Sarah Gailey, or Theodora Goss. If you are, hi. It's not because I'll never know. I'll never know because you couldn't take 15 seconds to read the submission guidelines that say make it a Word file. I don't accept RTFs. I'll never know because you didn't take the time to indent the first line of every paragraph instead of making a space between the paragraphs like you do on your blog. I'll never know because instead of Times New Roman or Garamond or some pleasing to the eye 12-point font like I say in my submission guidelines, you put the goddamn thing in 16-point purple Comic Sans and it hurts my eyes and it's hard to read, so I'm not going to read it. I'll never know because by ignoring the submission guidelines that I actually put thought into creating so as to make the workflow easier for my editors and my readers, you're telling me you don't give a shit about the people who you claim to want to work with. So fuck you, you're fired before you're hired. That's what I read out of a manuscript that ignores all the submission guidelines. I read, I'm too important for your pissant little formatting. I read, my work is so goddamn spectacular that you should learn to manipulate an RTF file just for me. I read a great big neon sign at the top of your manuscript that says, I'm written by an asshole. We have one hard and fast rule at Falstaff Books. I must be the biggest asshole in every relationship in the company. Nobody gets to be a bigger prick than me. I pay the royalties. I sign the contracts. That's the fucking deal, kids. I'm going to be the biggest dick in the room. If you're not following the guidelines, I feel like you're fighting me for the spot of biggest asshole in the room. Guess what? You're going to lose. Working with a publisher, it's not a first date to go out with somebody for 2 weeks up until prom and then never see them again. It's not even going steady for 6 months. It's not even getting married like a Kardashian. Working with a publisher is a multi-year commitment. It is a long-term relationship. For some of you, it may be the longest relationship you've ever had with anyone who you don't share DNA with. We need to know that you're not a pain in the ass. That's what it all boils down to. Yes, there are specific reasons that I don't want an RTF file. I find them clumsy and hard to manipulate, and I have to remember how to dick with them to make them big enough for my old eyes to see. That's a pain in my ass, and I don't want to have to do it. Sorry. Again, I write the checks. When you write the checks, you get to make arbitrary rules to make your life more comfortable. I don't like sans serif fonts, so the submission guidelines say I want it in Times New Roman. Yes, I know. I can Control A and click the font button, and it'll take me less than 3 seconds to change everything there to a font that I like. But if I'm asking you to do something in a professional relationship and you're not even giving it consideration as to why I may want these things, that tells me that I may have trouble dealing with you when it's time to, oh, I don't know, hand in edits on your book. We're not a printer. If you want to submit your book to Amazon and upload it through KDP and have it run through KDP print, knock yourself out. You don't need a publisher for that. If you want to work with a publisher, you're going to have to deal with somebody else's rules. It's just like any other job. If you have a job, you probably have a boss. Your boss has ways that she wants things done. You can gripe about that way, but you have to do them. Now, she may not want anyone playing music in the office because she's easily distracted, or she's hard of hearing and loud environments make it difficult for her to concentrate and focus. If you want to listen to music, well, put in one earbud so you can still hear what's going on around you. But there you go. You've listened to what your boss is saying. If your boss or your prospective boss says, this file type makes my life more difficult and forces me to spend more time before I get into the meat of your story and I start reading annoyed with you, then don't use that file type. We, the collective we in publishing, we all want to say yes. Every editor that you're submitting to wants your book to be amazing, and we want to offer you, and every publisher wants to offer you a contract. Why do we want every book to be fantastic? Because that's how we make money. It is not this grand, artistic, charitable, greater good of humanity bullshit. I produce good books, I make more money. So I want your book to be amazing when it comes across my desk. I'm not looking to say no. But when we were open for unsolicited submissions, it's currently October 28th of 2019, and we are closed, and we will be closed through all of 2020. Check our website, falstaffbooks.com, starting in January of 2021. We may open up for a brief period in early 2021. That doesn't mean you can't submit. That means you can't mail me stuff blindly. You can reach out to us. You can come see us at a convention. If you have an agent, your agent can send us stuff. But we are closed to unsolicited submissions. When we were open to unsolicited submissions, we received over 100 submissions a month. We are a small press with one employee and multiple contractors, and we do not pay advances, and we do not have much in the way of bookstore distribution. And we were receiving over 100 submissions a month. We took, on average, one a year. So it's about a 1/10 of 1% shot for us to say yes. We want to. We really, really do. We can't. Only have so many publishing slots. There are only so many weeks in the year. There's only so much room on the bookcases behind me. As you can see, that only so much is not very damn much. We're renovating. Lots of things will be moving in the next few weeks worth of videos. Carpet will be going away. This video studio office will be moving upstairs. It'll all be different soon. We can't take every book that comes in. We can't even refer every book that comes in to our friends because they can't take every book that they're getting. So you have to be better than everything else. Your book has to be better than the other 999 books that came in this year. The first step to that is proof to me that you're good to work with. The way you do that is you follow the submission guidelines. It's real simple. They're on the website in plain English. Pretty much everybody has them listed. They're very frequently the same. Double-spaced. Microsoft Word document. Probably there's a list of acceptable fonts. For us, it's Times New Roman or Garamond. 1-inch margins all around. Indent the first line of each paragraph. That's probably it. Put your name somewhere on it. That's it. It's not hard. Some of these are purely to make it easier on the eyes. Some of it are purely to make it easier on the person who's reading it. Sometimes it's because if we accept the file, we need all of the hard tabs stripped out. That means that if you indent by pressing the tab button, you have to go back through your entire manuscript and take those out. And then you have to set up format, paragraph, indent first line. The reason for this is that sometimes hard tabs fuck up the ebook. When you're exporting from Scrivener or Word or whatever, sometimes having hard tabs in the document makes it look shitty. And that means that the person who does your ebook layout, spoiler, it's fucking me, you asshole, has to spend hours upon hours going through 100,000 words of your goddamn brilliance to take out all the hard tabs. Thanks, asshole. That's 3 other hours worth of shit I'm not getting done today. So take them out. Indent. Using Word's tools. It's not hard. I literally just told you how to do it. I have yelled, and I have sworn, and I have insulted throughout this entire video. Why have I done that? For emphasis, because I like bad words, because I'm sometimes poetic in my profanity. I credit Garth Ennis with that. His run on Hellblazer had a lot to do with teaching me how to swear creatively. But I have done that to try and drive home a point. There's a reason that I make this video. There's a reason that I have said this on countless panels at conventions over the last 10 years. Because it's still the first thing that everybody fucks up. It was so bad that at one point in 2018, I was looking over all of our slush for a week. We had gotten, I don't know, I think we'd gotten about 20 in that week. Maybe 25. It was Friday. And I got to the first query letter and manuscript that followed all the submission guidelines. 5%, the 20th submission, followed all the guidelines. I emailed the writer. I said, "Dear blah, 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 I'm the founder of Falstaff Books. I have not yet read your manuscript. I hope it's wonderful. But I wanted to drop you a note and let you know how much I appreciate you following the submission guidelines. You are the first submission this week to have done so." That's fucking ridiculous, y'all. It's ludicrous that you can't follow simple instructions. They're not hard. Seriously, it should take you 30 seconds to set up your document. But you don't do it. When you don't do that, it makes me think that you're not going to turn in your edits in a timely fashion. It makes me think that you're not going to read through the entire manuscript when it's time to do your page proofs. It makes me think that you're not going to accept all of the changes in the manuscript. You're not going to answer the questions that your editor put into the track changes to the manuscript, it tells me that from the get-go, you're not ready to do the work. Don't be the 95%. If you've only got a 0.1% chance from the outset of getting your book picked up, and it's better than that for a lot of people, but it's worse for some presses. If you've got to be 1 in 1,000, well, wouldn't you rather already have an edge over 950 of them? Then you just have to be better than 49 other idiots. Except those are the idiots who followed the guidelines. Put yourself in a position to succeed. Prove to me that you're easy to work with. This is why we pick up so many authors at conventions. Because I can sit down and have a drink with them and talk to them. See if their philosophy matches up with ours. See if we like each other. Again, this is a long-term relationship we're looking at entering into. We don't do that lightly, despite what some people may think when I talk about buying authors in bars, which, yes, I have done many times. But it's all about having a long-term working relationship. So give yourself every opportunity to have a positive relationship. All right, that's what I got. And an itchy nose, that's what else I got. I'm going to go watch Criminal Minds, and you guys, y'all be good to one another. All right?